All right. This is going to be a very short stream, I presume. I have to leave at like 5, 5:20, something like that, 5:30. But we are going to be watching the bonus features for the Back to the Future game. Watching the Back to the Future movies, my second favorite thing to do was to watch the bonus disc. Anyone who has the Back to the Future trilogy on DVD has the bonus disc, I think. I spent most of my time in the bonus disc. It was my favorite thing. I'd watch all the movies and then I'd watch the bonus features to figure out how the movie was made. Dude, when I was a kid, like I know it's not cool to say, "Oh, I was so autistic." That's stupid. I don't actually have autism, I don't think. But that was my tism. That was my thing. That was my jam. To just go and watch bonus features for any movie. Any movie that I had. Um, Spider-Man movies, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, holy moly. I know how every scene was filmed. Yeah. I retained that knowledge. Um, Knowledge that I didn't necessarily need. But now that I've grown up and I'm not like 10 or 8 or however old I was, I don't remember half that stuff. I remember some things. And if I try to say them, I might misremember. And, you know, mess up some stuff. But I'm very excited to see what the bonus features on the game are going to be. Because I'm really hoping it's, a full explanation, how they coded stuff, how they did stuff. I'm really excited. Alright, let's just make sure this is all good. Keep changes, yep. Back to OBS. We'll go here. I'm sorry, I gotta figure out a way to, figure this out beforehand, before I start streaming. Why is my voice all like that? Oh, live now and upcoming? What the freak? Control room. Warning, warning, warning. Alright, it's good. It's fine. We're all good. It's not that deep. Alright. It's a lot again. Dude, I love the 360. That's why I like playing the old games, because I get to use my 360. I love it. What do I... Alright. Dude, Minecraft on the Xbox 360, better than regular Minecraft. Like, that was when shit wasn't updated, except I think they did like one last update in 2018, I think, and they added a bunch of stuff, which kind of makes me sad because it's not the original old Minecraft, but it's still fun to go back and play it on the 360 and to see what it was like the old textures, the old small confined maps. Really, really cool. All right. Oh man, I'm thirsty. Okay, let's get ready. I don't know how long this is gonna be. From what I've seen, it's between like 8 and 15 minutes. Don't know. Lock in.
The history of Back to the Future in video games has not been a pretty one. And so my mandate to Telltale when they said we're going to do Back to the Future is this game cannot suck eggs.
I was aware of his frustration at previous attempts at making a game. Definitely, like the first time we met, we talked about that. With Telltale, our process starts with the story and the characters, and we apply the story mechanics later. And I think that people were really excited about the potential of where this could go because we really want to protect the license. And also for us, like getting Bob Gale's sign off was everything.
There's never going to be a Back to the Future Part 4. We're not doing that. But Telltale's Back to the Future game is pretty close to what a Part 4 could be.
Making a Telltale game is sort of modeled after the TV episodic model where we, instead of telling one story at once, we tell a bunch of stories that are all connected over the course of a season. So in Back to the Future's case, it was 5 episodes. So first we figure out like the really rough story arc, and that's kind of where everything starts.
We would have roundtable meetings with the Telltale guys, would come down to LA. We got to talking about things. I proposed that we go back into Doc Brown's youth because this was an idea that Bob Zemeckis and I had way early on when we were trying to figure out what Back to the Future Part 2 was going to be about.
And instantly, like all of the fans in the room just went, yeah, that's why we should do this. That's the story we want to tell and explore. And then it was all just a matter of, okay, well, we have this basic idea. How do we get the player involved? What is, obviously we want it to be a Doc and Marty story. That was kind of the core of what the films are. And so we started there, came up with the problem for the whole series of Doc getting stranded back in time. Then we go in and start actually kind of creating the concept art. I remember seeing that first Marty sketch was another key moment in the process where we're like, okay, that's the thing we were most worried about in this production. We've got that figured out, now we can move on.
Well, the best part of the Telltale guys on the game were they were huge fans of the movie, and they wanted to get it right. They wanted really to be true to the spirit of Back to the Future.
Another really
Okay, one thing I'm gonna try not to interrupt, but dude, the hoverboard. Oh, I want one so bad. I found one on Amazon. It's probably not going to be exactly like the movie, but I want one. Imagine that in the background. Imagine that in the background, dude. Right here, right in this area, maybe over here by the whiteboard, dude. That'd be sick. I want one so bad. All right, back to it.
important part of the process for us was getting the actual actors from the movie to be involved. From the very get-go, when the game was first pitched, we said we have to get Christopher Lloyd. If we're going to be doing Doc Brown in a huge speaking role, it's got to be right.
I think it's great. What a fabulous idea. It's certainly timely. I mean, video games are hot, and
Looks so young.
This is great material. I mean, it should be a lot of fun.
Great Scott!
Having Tom Wilson come back for some voiceover now is rad.
Tom as Biff, episode 103, take one.
You're lucky your old man's here, butthead.
I feel like that guy is just one of the huge parts. Like, you can't have a Back to the Future game without Biff.
He moves his neck more. He uses his jaw more than I do. Things like that. So with every character in the movie, I would think about those things. So it's there. I don't have to watch everything because I remember those cues also. The physicality, although in voiceover it doesn't matter so much. But as you see, maybe in the B-roll, you see, I'm trying to be physical to get back into it to be able to do it right.
And then having Claudia Wells come in too, she was, I think, right off the bat, interested as well, and heard that kind of the band was getting back together.
Jennifer? What the hell?
The coup of all
I had no idea.
coups was getting Michael J. Fox to participate and be the voice of one of the McFly ancestors.
Well, yeah, so when we were trying to get all the cast together, we spoke with Michael J. Fox, but due to time commitments, couldn't be full-time like we needed him. But we got him to do the cameo, which was awesome. And I almost feel like that was almost a cooler use of him nowadays. But then the search turned to, how do we find someone to do a Marty who can just come in and be our main character? And it was a really big worry for a while.
I had no idea that he voiced his great-grandfather. That's crazy. I had no idea. When we were playing it, I was gonna say, all right, that sounds more like Marty than the guy doing Marty, but I didn't say anything. That's crazy. I did not know that. I also didn't know that the guy for Biff was actually, the actual actor for Biff was the voice actor. I did not know that. That's sick. All right.
I voiced Marty McFly in Back to the Future, the game. That is what I did.
Jesus Christ, Doc, you disintegrated Einstein!
Pressure, yeah. To be like, oh, that amazing, iconic role that everyone loves and knows and can quote lines from, and that incredibly famous, wonderful actor, Michael J. Fox. Can you just replicate that? That's what I had going on in the back of my head. So yeah, it was a lot of pressure.
At one point, we got an email from our accountant who said that she'd gotten emailed an MP3 from some kid who said he would like to be Marty in the Back to the Future game.
I heard about this. I saw a news article. Telltale Games making Back to the Future and Jurassic Park into a game. And I was like, wow, that looks awesome. I would love to be, the voice of Marty McFly, but there's no way in hell that's going to happen. And at the time, Telltale was a lot smaller, so you just have to Google Telltale to get a list of phone numbers. And Rhoda was the first name that popped up, so I called her. And I left a message that was basically this nerdy, hey, my name is Angelo Cassio. I do a great Marty. I tried to sound as much like Marty as I could. I was like, it's my density to have this role.
But I remember it going.
That's freaking nuts that he can just slip into character like that. Dude. If I close my eyes, that sounds just like Michael J. Fox. That is wild.
Across someone's desk them hearing this audition and just saying, man, this kid sounds exactly like Michael J. Fox when he was young.
Doc, you gotta listen to me. The bruise on your head, I know how that happened. You told me the whole story.
It was almost no discussion. It was just kind of, yeah, we heard that MP3 that I think he recorded on like a Rock Band microphone with like, it was just insane, but it was that good.
AJ's Marty McFly is damn near flawless. When I heard his voice, I couldn't believe it.
I mean, I listened to it, and if I didn't know that this was not Michael, I would have assumed it was.
He was such a crucial piece to have that energy throughout the entire series, so it was amazing working with him.
I was obsessed with the movies growing up, like obsessed with Back to the Future. So it was something that was always in the back of my head. It was just a silly party trick at, what went from a social thing to party trick to actually becoming very useful.
So, Jennifer. Uh-huh. What do you think of me?
I don't.
Working on this from a fan perspective was the most pressure I've ever felt on anything. Trying to invent a way where we can pull you along through the story and then use dialogue options where you get to choose what Marty's going to say. And I think that's the kind of the hook for us, is giving you a situation and then saying, well, here's 3 different ways or 4 different ways that Marty could possibly react. If you were playing Marty, what would you do? And I think that it allows people to really author their own story.
Telltale's Back to the Future game is the only game that deserves to be called Back to the Future. It's very true to the spirit of the movies. The voice acting is terrific. The characterization is great. And with the new consoles, the game is just going to sparkle and jump off the screen.
Bringing this game to a new generation, even though it's not that old, is actually super exciting. Like getting to debut it again on all the new platforms. Telltale's got a lot bigger of a fan base now, and there's a lot of people who probably didn't know that we made this game. But it's still got a lot of the same core principles that are fun in a Telltale game. We're taking this thing that's super familiar and we're putting our own story in it and allowing you to play it. So in time with the 30th anniversary of the films, now we're getting to kind of add to what's out there in the media and saying, like, you're rebuying the movie again and watching it. Here's a game you might enjoy as well. And it kind of, watch the movies first, get back the nostalgia, and then right after the movie ends, you can pop in the game and continue the story from there.
Holy moly, that was it? That's crazy. Oh man, I agree. I'm gonna wait. Is there more? I really hope there was more. Shit. No, I agree. It does capture the essence of the movies, and it feels the characterization. That's the exact word. The characterization of everyone. It is okay. It is fantastic, because that was my biggest fear before playing it, because I didn't watch that video. I didn't know that they had Christopher Lloyd redo, be Doc. I didn't know that they had Jennifer or Biff, and I sure as hell did not know that Michael J. Fox would be playing a cameo. Yeah, I didn't know anything going in. All I knew, Back to the Future, Telltale game. That's all I knew. Yeah, dude, that is nuts. That is crazy. I agree. Okay, so, sorry, pardon me. One thing that I'm going to include in my video is that it was a good thing that they had Bob Gale, right? I believe that's his name. I might be mistaken. That was the best idea and option that they had, to include him in the writing and the, to understand the characters and stuff like that. The writing and then the characterization, because if they didn't do that, that would have been rough. I feel like it would have been really bad if they didn't have one of the head guys from the movies in there. Oh man, they really did a good job with the story. And like I said, the characters, the vibe, all of the tropes from the movies, it's stuff that you remember, but it's also not like, oh, I remember that. Oh man, nice. Thanks for throwing that in. It was actually interesting and cool when they did it. And oh my goodness, that is just, I really like that video. I'm not disappointed, because it's not a movie. It's not, there's not multiple hours of bonus features, after the fact stuff. How did this happen? How did you do that? How did you film this? How did you do that? But I really wish watching the stream just ruined my day. Thanks, Logan. But no, I really wish there was more on like how they developed the game and did the animations and stuff like that. I feel like that would have been really cool. Maybe if they had like another chapter to like the play video section, if they had another like story, gameplay mechanics, and then like I said, animations and so on and so forth. I feel like that'd be really interesting, but unfortunately they didn't have that. Maybe there's a documentary I can find where they go more in depth on like how they made the game. I will try to look for that, because if I can find that, I'm going to put that in my video. But yeah, we should have watched that after we did part 5. That was not as long as I was expecting. This is the shortest stream I think I've ever done that will be public, because I've done like test streams that are like 12 minutes, and then I just start stream because everything was fine. But that's crazy. Logan, you joined in at a very inopportune time. We just got done. Oh my goodness, did you hear that shit? Oh, we just got done with the video, the whole point of the stream. So I have to go work out. I have to go get big and strong. So yep. Okay, next game. Let me pull the, again as a reminder. Wait, let me find the other game that I have. Alright, so these are the next 3 games that I will possibly be making videos on. I might do a poll. The lighting is incredible. I might do a poll to see which one you guys would rather want to see. I feel like this is kind of a big task, doing Marvel Ultimate Alliance, because that is a pretty big game. I mean, it's not huge. It's not massive. But it is pretty big. There's a lot of stuff included with that. And the X-Men game, I know absolutely nothing. When I was at GameStop and I found this, I was very surprised that they... Okay, can the glare stop? I was very surprised that they had this. And then I looked up gameplay to make sure I wasn't buying some boof shit. And then, yeah, Marvel Avengers. It's a game. I already have like a assumption, because I've seen videos. Oh, this game's so shit. It's live service, yada yada yada. I feel like it would be the best, because I'm just yapping. So, my bad if this does not make sense. I've done Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Xbox One. And then I did Back to the Future, Xbox 360. So I think we should go from Xbox 360 to Xbox One. So I think this will be the next one that we talk about. So yes. Alright. Because I love Xbox 360 games. I really do. They're a lot of fun. They remind me of when I was young, when I was a little boy. Right. But it's always good to play a more modern game and see how they compare. So, yap done. Why is that sticky? Why is that sticky? I don't like that that's sticky. Also, I couldn't find I don't think that they had, I don't know. Don't quote me if I am wrong. I don't know if they didn't have a like singular Marvel Ultimate Alliance copy, because I found this with Forza 2. I believe it's 2. Is it 3? No, it's 2. I have never played a Forza game, and I will probably never play a Forza game because I'm not a car guy. I don't play car games. So, I played Rocket League, but then I remembered that I'm not, I like my life. I like being alive. Frickin', what is it called? What I said, Rocket League? Oh my gosh. It's an okay game, but people will whip a bitch and then do some stupid shit. No, it's okay, Logan. Thanks for coming forward and telling me why the case was sticky. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna call it there. Also, I'm just putting this out here. I'm just putting that out there that when I turn 21, we're going to be playing Dark Souls 1 for the 360 because I have that back there. I'm not gonna pull it out, but I'm going to be doing a challenge. Every time I die in Dark Souls 1, I take a shot. I'm gonna get blackout drunk, and I'm gonna vomit all over my setup. So yeah, keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your head. All right, buzz. All right. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later, Logan. Don't jism on any of my things anymore, okay? That's not cool. It's not very kind of you. All right.